Good morning, Smith Shoes. How's the audio? Can you hear good? Pickled Tink, good morning. Gemma, good morning. Audio is perfect. Thank you. For some reason, the EQ that's on the left hand side, you guys can't see it. I can on my dashboard. It's not moving at all. It's just a straight line. Ooh. Betty Damn Boop. Good morning, Betty Damn Boop. Welcome to this morning's live stream. Today we're just going to have a general chat Q&A, and I'm going to cover these papers that are behind me on my desk here. Kind of go over some things that I was planning on doing videos of in 2023 that I never got to. Vintage art. Good morning. Good morning. Long time no see. Good morning. I've written a new poem about my autism. I've recently been seeing autism in a different way. Well, that's good. Lucy. Put glasses on so it's actually clear. Good morning, Susan, Gayla. Lucille. Sorry. Lucille. Duncan. Zelda. Hey. I'm wanting to go looking for the panel. Wanting to go looking for the panel. Panel of what, Zelda? Individuals? People? Paneling? For a wall? I'm just guessing, sweetheart. But good morning to everyone. All the same. I hope we all had a happy, holiday season and a safe New Year's. It's most likely near Mount Hood or Maupum for the flight, from the flight. Oh. Mount Hood's beautiful. I love going to Mount Hood. I've probably been there 30, 40 times, Mount Hood. Not nearly as many times as I've been to Mount Rainier. Every year I take off. I don't want to tell people where I go, but when I take my vacation, I spend some time in a cabin that is off the grid. In the Mount. It's not in the Mount Rainier National Forest, but it's right next to it. Kitty Q, good morning. But I love that. I love the area. It's relaxing, especially since the cabin that I stay at is off the grid. You can, you don't have any devices. You don't get any cell coverage there, and you just, you wouldn't believe just how everyone in society is connected to some kind of electronic device, either the news, the radio, your cell phone, getting away from everything. The Alaskan airline that blew off on the plane last night, about 20 minutes into the flight, was declared an emergency landing safe back PDX last night. Oh, good morning, Sprinkle Donut. I'm in northern Washington, about 90 minutes from the Canadian border, getting snow here. Any snow your way yet, or is it just rain? Here, vintage art. So you're 90 minutes from the Canadian border. Here where I am in Washington State, we are getting rain. It is currently raining right now. It is 44 degrees here, but we've been getting rain all week. But they are forecasting snow for us, and it won't be much, but they are forecasting it for this week. I think Wednesday, Thursday. Francie, good morning. Colleen, good morning. Without cell phones and all that, yeah. But it's nice. So I go there and I'll spend 3 days there, and or 4 days, 3 or 4 days, and that's it. I just turn off. Even if you wanted to turn on a cell phone, for emergency purposes, you're screwed unless you have a satellite phone. That's the only thing you're going to get connection with there. But it's pretty primitive. I mean, there's a kitchen, there's a bathroom, inside indoor plumbing, but it's completely off the grid. You have to actually you pull into a parking lot and then you have to walk the 3/4 of a mile to the actual cabin. There's no road that even leads to it. I don't know if you guys are fans of Steve. Uh, well, that's probably a bad reference because nobody would know that reference. So I won't even say it. Next weekend it's going to be high of 10. Yes, 10. Wow. So 90 minutes from the Canadian border. Are you more towards Spokane or are you more towards Bellingham in that part of the state? Of the state. Of that state. I have property east of Spokane in Idaho, Rathdrum, Idaho. I've been to Bellingham quite a bit. My friend went to college there. Good morning, Reichart. It's 90 minutes. I mean, Bellingham's way up here by the Canadian border. That's like 20-minute drive. Oh, Chattaroy, just north of Spokane, 45 minutes north. There you go. Pretty area, vintage art. I've got friends all the way from Deer Lake, Deer Park area, all the way down through Spokane, and then going down eastern Washington all to where I am. I'm down by the Washington-Oregon border. I'm closer to Zelda than anybody, and yet I haven't stopped by and seen her yet. Did anyone lose their Verizon cellular service several hours Friday in San Diego and other areas were expecting no cell service? Colleen Ellis. Wow, haven't been to Bellingham in years. Of course, we didn't go to the state very often. To the states. Colleen, you're in Canada, right? We're practically neighbors. LOL. I am where I won't say exactly where I am, vintage art, but the area that I live in here is because of the Manhattan Project. So if you know the state history at all, it gives you pretty much an idea of where I am. Canada, oh Canada. Not much more of a claim to fame to this for this area. Will, you must stop and pick up the coffee mug I bought you. I know, sweetheart, I know, but it's not too far off your route home from your dad's, my wife's dad. But yeah, it is not. I know exactly where you are, sweetheart. The hell, I drove past it twice last year on the way to Portland. But yet I didn't even register in my mind until after each trip. It's like, oh yeah, Zelda lives in this town. I'm trying to get my family to go to the Finley Forest in Oregon. Will, did you make breakfast? No, I have not made breakfast yet, Francine. My wife is making breakfast right now. Well, she's making the bacon and stuff right now for my son. Will, is there snow over here? No, not where I am, Ricart. Not where I am. Raining. It's raining right now. The weather forecast is on my little taskbar here. It says it's raining and it's 44 degrees. And of course, cloudy because, well, rain comes out of clouds. I know there are rare circumstances where you get those daytimes, rains, where you don't see clouds at all. But no, if you have to come this way, Reichardt, there's no snow here. It's sort of boring. Dun, 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 dun. Good one, Zelda. All right, well, so I wanted to cover a couple things that I was going to make videos on in 2023, but I never got around to them. Some of these I've actually shot videos of, but and then after editing them, they just never. I wasn't happy with the outcome of the actual content. So here in Kansas, it's snow and frozen. Trees look all white and beautiful. Wow. Terrible weather. It's cold in the UK right now, Gemma. Stay warm, sweetheart. But these are things that I wanted to make videos on, but I never got them out or released, and whatever it was. So one of them was based on a question. The first one here was based on a question about serial killers. And when it comes to people like Ted Bundy, Gary Ridgway, the question that was asked of me, and I was asked to actually make this video, but I never did, was if Ted Bundy or Gary Ridgway was out there killing today, hunting for victims, that how long would they actually be able to get away with it? Now, as society has moved on from, the highlight of serial killers were the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and into the early part of the 1990s. So you can take that 30-year span there, and that 30-year span was the prime hunting time for serial killers in America. Now, do not take it, that as, well, there are none out there now. According to the Department of Justice and the FBI, there are over 1,000 active serial killers right now in America. And that includes Alaska, like your Israel Keys, individual, and to Hawaii, to the lower 48 states. So there are 1,000 active serial killers who, and when they say active, that means that individual is hunting, killing, or already has a victim that they maybe are holding captive and haven't killed yet. But 1,000. There are over 2,000 total in the United States, but some of them have gone dormant. They've stopped killing. They've stopped hunting. Maybe they're incarcerated. Maybe they're in ill health because of their age, or they have other barriers that are stopping them from being able to go out and actually hunt and kill. So back to the question. The question was, if Ted Bundy and Gary Ridgway were out there killing today, how long could they, conceivably get away with, hunting and killing today. Serial killers throughout history have adapted and changed with time. If you go back to the early 1960s, 50s, 40s, the serial killer of that time period is much different from a serial killer from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Throughout history, and the advancements in technology, CCTV, cell phones, emergency alert systems, news media putting out the information of what a serial killer looks like and is acting like and what they're doing. Those advancements have come along, but serial killers have not gone away. They've adapted to work around the technology. They're very much aware of the science and everything else, including DNA and ancestral DNA and all that stuff. They're very aware of all that, but they've adapted along with society. So as technology is made it easier to catch them along the way, they've also adapted as well to, okay, this, I'm going to have to do this to counteract these issues, technology in that aspect. One of the fastest growing areas in for serial killers is now what they call routine activity murders. Routine activity murders. So that's RAM is how the FBI and the Department of Justice listed. And you might be wondering, what is a routine activity murder? For a serial killer, that is finding someone who is, either in an area that they're not familiar with, maybe they're on vacation, maybe they're hiking, maybe they're in a park or an urban setting where the victim itself is, not aware of their actual surroundings and what their exit is or whatever it might be. So they're doing it in actual routine activity, and they find them, and they're an object of opportunity, if you will. But that is one of the largest growing ones over the last 22 years. The FBI and the Department of Justice has seen more serial killers pick up in these areas. So where the individual may not know, well, if somebody's following me, I can go to this well-lit area. If I'm, at this truck stop, I can just go inside, and these are the doors that are open and unlocked. It's an opportunity murder for them. But that they've seen the advancements, of killing and abductions and everything else take place because of where their victims are. Again, serial killers are adapting to their environment. It's like putting a caged wolf in, caging them up and then picking them up and moving them somewhere else to an area that wolves have never been before. Think of it this way. So this wolf is from Yellowstone National Park. We pick it up and we move it to Boston, the suburbs of Boston. Why you do that? I have no idea. But this is hypothetically say you do that. That wolf will adapt to its environment and find, the resources it needs. Just like a serial killer will adapt to the environment and what's going on around them. So that's like the gist of what I wanted to do. But how long would Ridgway or Bundy be able to get away with it? It all depends. Bundy was only caught, you have to understand, because he got sloppy. Ridgway was caught because of other things that were catching up in technology and everything else, and people were starting to able to put together the picture that of what he was doing to throw off authorities that weren't actual real clues and real evidence. So we don't know, but they're out there. All right. Next one I wanted to do a video on that I never got around to is on school shootings. Yeah, we just had another one the other day. I've had this one has been done, and this is all statistics for school shootings. And you're gonna be well, you shouldn't be surprised, but At the same time, you will most likely will be surprised. This is all from a report that the Department of Justice and Homeland Security joint venture did in 1999. Okay, these are the statistics then, and every bit of this works for school shootings in 2022, 2023, 2024. The statistics have not changed about the actual shooters themselves, school shooters, but we've known about them, this information since 1999. Okay, 98% of all school shootings are done by males. 93% of all school shootings are done by males who are between the ages of 15 and 17. 96.5% of all school shootings are done by those who consider themselves Caucasian. Even if they are of mixed race, they are listed on school, and they themselves have listed themselves and self-identify as Caucasian. Now, don't get into the nuances here, of any of this, and like, oh, male. How do you know that they're male? Maybe they self-identify as a unicorn. I don't care. I'm telling you, this is what they identify as and what the actual statistic says. All right, from 1999 to today. All right, next. 91 to 93% of all school shootings occur by a student who is currently enrolled in that school or that school district. So they don't go to an unfamiliar location and shoot up and kill students and stuff like that. They're going after what they know. 89 to 90% of all school shooters confess, those who survive, that they are going after staff and students. It's never just one or the other. It's the staff that they believe have not protected them because maybe they were bullied or they weren't helped or they were ridiculed or whatever it might have been. But they admit 89 to 90% have said it's not just the students that they are going after. It's the staff as well. 90% of all school shootings that have been studied, the school shooters who have, they took all of them that have ever happened. So 90% of all of them, the school shooter themselves studied other school shootings. 90%. So the next school shooter may be looking at Columbine, and the massacre that happened there and studying that for how that happened, what was the outcome, how did they get caught, everything else. So they're not just looking at any random act. They're looking directly and studying other previous school shootings. 90% of them are. Of those students who the eventual shooters and shooters themselves, of those 90%, the school system, the parents, 90% again, knew that these students were studying previous school shootings. Hey, Timmy, why are you studying the Columbine massacre or Sandy Hook? What is your interest in that? 90% are known again that they're studying these school shootings, but yet no one's stopping them. All right, next. 41 to 43% of those who were previous students, like either they've aged out of the school system to where they're going to do the shooting, 41 to 43%, all right, of those who are older are shooting up or going back against that school because of a perceived indifference, that the school system treated them differently than other people, other students. 41 to 43% believe that they have to do this. 18%, only 18% of all of the school shooters that have ever happened, where they've studied them, again, this is where the shooter itself survived, only 18% listened to violent music, and only 40% played violent video games. So the narrative that violent video games is driving school shootings and is part of the catalyst behind they're playing violent video games or listening to violent music, is as a catalyst for why they're doing it is not true. It's not even 50% are playing violent video games. And again, only 18% are listening to violent music. 96% of all those who've been studied come from a broken home. 96%. Either the parents are divorced, they are getting divorced, or they've been separated for a long period of time. But additionally, 94.5% have seen violence in their home in the previous 12 months. 94%, okay, have seen violence in the past 12 months, either physical, verbal, and mental or sexual violence in their home in the previous 12 months before the shooting. 96% of all school shooters, again, admitted that the end game was they were supposed to die in the school shooting itself. They have no exit plan, no plan for, oh, I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to get on a plane and I'm going to fly to Acapulco. There is no plan to ever leave the actual, school shooting itself. They want to die at the hands of law enforcement. 96%. Yeah, 96%. They didn't want to survive. Their end game is that they are going to die there. Again, this is a joint report that was done in 1999, and none of this information is being used to actually stop the next one. Oh, and you might be wondering, access to guns. Well, maybe that's the solution. Let's just pass more laws to stop them from accessing guns. In every single situation in America from 1950 through to 2022, laws that have been passed to restrict gun ownership or people from buying guns has not stopped a single school shooting. Not one. Think about that for a second. How many laws have been passed to restrict gun buying, people from buying guns, and from these kids getting these guns? How many of them have been passed and actually stopped a school shooting? None. Now, I don't care where you are on a gun ownership or guns, or should be illegal for everyone. It doesn't matter where you are on the scale. The laws passed. Criminals don't care about the laws. If they're going to do these things, they're going to get access to whatever they need to actually do it. Well, let's just make it illegal for the shooters to be able to buy bulletproof vests. Even if you pass that law tomorrow across the nation, they would still find a way to get a bulletproof vest if they wanted. Wow, let's just limit the amount of ammunition that they can buy so they can't have hundreds of rounds of ammunition. Well, they would go around it. They'd buy small quantities all over the place, or buy them on the secondary market or steal them. The laws, again, criminals don't care about the laws. And when it comes to stopping them, not one law that has ever been passed has actually stopped a school shooting. Does it mean we shouldn't try? You might be asking yourself. We have to do something. Yeah, we do. But that we're going at it the wrong way. And I hate to say this, but we are. We're going at it the wrong way. We need to start earlier before they get to the point where they're thinking about shooting up their school and killing all their classmates. How about we start with mental health counseling years before, and that way we can prevent these things from happening. These kids are not necessarily damaged for goods forever. They could use their their skills and everything else in a more constructive way, as opposed to shooting up and killing 50 of their classmates, and two janitors and a vice principal. So yeah, I never made that video. That's another one that just sits here on the desk in paper. Oh, and uh, these are just videos. These are scripts for videos that I was going to do that I haven't done. And I'm just picking some out of it. Otherwise, we'd be here all damn day. All right. Now, this next one, I've covered a little bit in live streams, and I've done it in a little bit in videos itself about serial killers who have fallen in love behind bars. These are serial killers, all right, who have, by their own admission, gotten married to a fan from the outside of the prison. And in several cases, they've had a lot of actual interaction with maybe two or three people, other women, because these are all men, two or three outside who have actually proposed marriage to them, who believe that they have a long-term commitment and connection to the serial killer. And the Son of Sam law, in particular, in case you're not familiar with it, the Son of Sam law, the Son of Sam law prevents an actual killer from, say, like, for instance, Ted Bundy. Let's use Ted Bundy as an example. He's not on the list, but let's just use him as an example. Let's say that Ted Bundy commits all these murders. We know he committed, right? He's found guilty. He goes to prison. The Son of Sam laws it's a general term for laws. There is no actual laws that are on the book that are called the Son of Sam. It's the law that is meant to prevent Ted Bundy from profiting from his actual crimes. Now, I've covered this briefly, like I said before, about different states that have struck down or basically cut the feet out from underneath a lot of these laws that are meant to prevent the criminal from actually profiting from their crimes. But that doesn't mean that Ted Bundy can't take his story, write it down, and then hand it off to another individual, and they then write or make the book or the movie or whatever. They take in the money, and then they give it to the serial killer itself. In the United States, since the Son of Sam laws came out to actually help and prevent these killers from actually doing it, a lot of victims have said, look, we deserve a cut of the pie to try to make our lives whole again from what this individual did. And we deserve the rights to have the actual story of, again, Ted Bundy. So we can sell it and then get the money from it to put our lives back together, because he killed, our loved one, and that's where it actually started, was taking the law and scrapping, you can't, profit from it. Well, no one can. And well, okay, this person can't because we can't violate their constitutional rights. We can't violate their constitutional rights. They have the right to profit from it. I know some of the money is making its way back to the killer, but in October of 2023, we saw even a larger undercutting from the federal level of this. That was the last update that I actually put down on here. Was in this the state of Texas and in California. Both states have on the federal level. They had people who had petitioned the federal court system, in their states, the state Supreme Court, and then it went on to the federal level, basically taking away the rights to, again, Ted Bundy to sell his story to the media, as long as he doesn't. What's the best way to put this? He doesn't directly profit from it, and that if he is to sell that story, he can profit from it, and so do the victims' families. So he must share the revenue if like the Ted Bundys of the world are to sell their story. At least now in 2 states, the individual can sell that story, and then they can profit from it, and so will the victim. But there must be intermediate between the two of them. So the money won't come directly to Ted. It goes to the intermediate, and then they decide civilly, and it has to somebody has to file a civil case for it. Well, 80% will go to the victims' families, 20% will go to the individual. In this case, the example, Ted Bundy. But Texas and in California. And there are a whole bunch of different states that are looking at somewhat similar laws on the books to actually do that. And why would they want to do that? Because the state does not want to put a dime of money in the crime victims compensation funds. They've a lot of states have looted the crime victims compensation funds, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. But they've looted them and moved the money on to other things. Now, you might want to, what is a crime victims compensation fund? I'm going to use the crime victims compensation fund as an example, just for the state of Washington, where I am. You commit a crime. They order you to pay restitution and replace or whatever you did. Maybe it was you stole a car and then you wrecked it. Crime victims, the state will say, okay, you need to pay that person $13,000 for the car. We're going to add $5,000 in court fines and fees on top of that. Part of that money is supposed to go to a fund called Crime Victims Compensation. That is then paid out to the victim itself. Maybe that you stole the car from that individual, but you carjacked them, you beat them up, physically hurt them, and then took their car and drove off in it. It's supposed to make that person whole, as in pay for their medical, pay for any mental health counseling that they may need. But the state says, well, we can cherry pick who we actually pay money out to. And we'll cherry pick how much money we individually will pay for victims of crime, because they don't have the money. The state has moved the money out of the pot for the crime victims, and they moved it off to something else. Maybe they moved it out to hiring more cops to be on the street, or buy new squad cars or popcorn makers for the state legislative office. Whatever it might have been, the money's gone, and this has happened everywhere. And they've used it to balance the books, and to hire new, and put different pieces of the pie together. But here in Washington State, they looted the actual pie. It's gone. And every person who's committed to a crime, they go to prison or to jail. They might only make 18 cents a day. How long is it going to take them to pay $13,000 for the car that they stole and the physical violence that they inflicted upon you? They get out of prison. They can't get a job, and if they do get a job, it's usually a menial job, and then they might pay some into the fund, but it sucks. Good morning, Gone Girl. Oh, Gypsy Rose is cashing in, ladies and gentlemen. She is cashing in. I see that she has a book deal coming out. It's either out now or she has a book coming out. It came across on Biblo. That's a website for book collectors and sellers. Biblo. State officials are thieves. Yeah, in a lot of aspects, but they don't think about it. Good morning, Mike. Uvalde, Texas, right? Yeah, there was multiple errors in that school shooting, Mike. Things that definitely never should have happened. But then at the same time, I try to put myself in the shoes of the cop who came, it was the first ones on the scene who saw the shooting happening, and then avoid it. And thank you for the super chat there, Gone Girl. I appreciate it. All right, next one is Leilani Simon. Do you all remember Leilani Simon? Leilani Simon is the mother of Quentin Simon. The backstory to Quentin Simon and the disappearance and eventual, they found Quentin in the city landfill is she said that she went to bed and that her Quentin's father initially, this was her story, that her Quentin's daddy had come and picked him up and left with him, but they couldn't get a hold of him and they didn't know where he was. Then the next story she changed it to was, oh my God, I woke up, I found the door open, and he must have just walked out. Both of them got a huge amount of law enforcement there at the scene to search for the surrounding area for Quentin Simon, along with trying to track down the baby daddy and see if he had because he didn't live in the same town. He lives quite a ways away. But that none of that was true. We've later found out that allegedly Leilani Simon killed little baby Quentin and then disposed of his body in a dumpster next to their home and next to a bar that her and her mother frequented quite often. But then mom and daughter went on vacation. I think Bullhorn Betty showed up there at one point to scream at him, "Where the hell's Quentin?" or something. But the update on that. So skipping forward. So that's just a little bit of background of who it is. And thank you, Gemma, for the super chat. So anyway, Quentin Simon. She has a total of 19 criminal charges that are filed against her. Malice murder, felony murder, first degree, concealing a death, along with several counts for false statements to investigators, making a false police report to state agencies, child protective services. That's when she filed a false complaint saying that it was the baby daddy who, all that part, and was trying to get him in trouble for it. But she's been in the Chatham County Detention Center, where apparently Leilani has now graduated from high school. She got her GED while behind bars. The Assistant District Attorney, Tim Dean, filed a response as well to several of the charges that her defense team wants to have the charges dismissed and done away with, because they don't believe that the state can prove that she was the one who actually murdered him and dumped him in a dumpster. Besides the DNA, but they now have released a part of the autopsy record for Quentin, and this was as of November of 2023. So things may have changed a little bit on this, but I'm not going to go through the entire thing because a lot of it was blacked out, edited out, if you will. But the cause of death for Quentin was listed as strangulation. So I couldn't imagine having to go through the landfill to look for the remains of Quentin. But in case you're wondering, at the time of Quentin's death, he was 20 months old. And now you can see why I didn't want to do that video. You heard that Charlene has written a couple of new books on the Watts case. I thought her name was Cheryl. they've been in South Korea since last night when North Korea sent several hundred missiles, but the news is silent about all this war stuff taking place. Yeah, just imagine that, ladies and gentlemen. The United States of America used to be a superpower when it came to the naval force. China now has more naval vessels than the United States, almost double the amount of naval power than the United States of America. But what they lack is they don't have the carrier group, nor do they have the underwater capabilities as in nuclear attack subs and the missile capability to be able to launch certain weapons from subs. But China is now the number one largest superpower when it comes to a naval force. We had some huge fumbles when it came to design and building of new ships for the United States Navy. I think the request from the United States Navy for 2024 is 700 million to build more ships to retrofit. And if you've ever been to Norfolk, Virginia, or anywhere around there, you'll see the shipyards just clogged with ships that are there for repair. We haven't been able to keep up with it because we can't hire people fast enough with the knowledge and everything else to be able to keep up and maintain the fleets we have. Cheryl Kill, good. Books are garbage. Don't waste your time or money unless you want to pay to reread the Discovery. She copy and pasted the whole damn thing into her book. Yeah. Thanks to the Clintons and Bidens. Biden, I see that they're moving closer to going after Hunter for contempt, basically lying to Congress or something. I saw the news article come across my screen this morning. Smoke them if you got them. I don't get into the politics. I've been waiting for that damn Epstein list to come out to see who was there at the island. I don't care how many times Bill Clinton flew on his airplane. Did Bill Clinton go to the island? Is there factual evidence that Bill Clinton was ever on Epstein's island? That was the number one question I had. Boy, did I have to go down a rabbit hole of to find different things on that. I'm going to paste a link in here to the Epstein's documents. Okay, I just happen to have this open. All right. This is a link in case you guys are wondering if you want to read the document, the doc file on Epstein. There's over 2,000 pages, so it's not like a slow reading. But this doesn't have the list of all the names in it. This is just the lawsuit, and everything else, a civil lawsuit, and why we're actually getting the names. But that's what I've been spent the past week on, was going down the rabbit hole trying to find these damn the list of people who've been to Epstein's island. And according to a CNN poll, that they're better than 60% of people still believe that Epstein killed himself. That boy was murdered. Epstein was murdered. Yeah, the guard just happened to fall asleep, right? The surveillance cameras for his housing pod just happened to get turned off that night. His door to his actual cell just happened to be unlocked. The other guard who was supposed to relieve the one who fell asleep just happened to get called away to another part of the detention center. All of these things just happen to happen on one night, and it just happens to be the night that Epstein was murdered. I mean, died at his own hands, right? Better than 60% still believe that he killed himself. Boy, there are a lot of people out there who live underneath rocks. Figure the POS didn't have face anything. He was murdered. He was murdered. And here's something that throughout all this. All right, so people have been chasing this list. I've been chasing this list of people who've been on the island. I mean, there have been some releases of the flight logs and other things where they've been blacked out, or lists of people who had business associations with Epstein. But the one thing that we have not heard anything about since all this, go back to Epstein's Island. And there have been quite a few people who talked about Epstein had a safe there in the floor where he kept thumb drives and DVDs of people who had been to the island. What happened to all that? Where is it? And how is it convenient that after Epstein died, all this stuff just disappears or is not talked about at all anywhere? I can't find a single news source out there where someone is actually tracking it down. And FYI, I've reached out to friends of mine who are Associated Press reporters, and they can't find anything about it. It's either locked away if they have it, or if they haven't wiped it clean, of whatever. But this was evidence, stuff that Epstein was using as blackmail against all the people who had come to the island. So in case he ever got into trouble, he was going to pull that out and go, I got the trump card here. Just gone. If you give a moose a cookie, then he'll want some milk, and then he'll want a bedtime story, and then he'll want, he was murdered. Well, we know Prince Andrew settled his civil suit for $12 million. But that's the reason why we're getting this, is because of the civil suit. I just can't believe that they held it away all this time. But there's got to be some people on there that are connected to the island. Now we know that Michael Jackson didn't go to the island, but frequented more than once. I say frequented as in more than once, but we don't know how many times. Epstein's New York home. There are quite a few other people who have been connected to the home in New York who've been either photographed by TMZ, or there's other people who've been able to prove that these people have been to the New York home. There's also connections with, Kevin Spacey had been to the ranch in, where was it, Utah or Arizona, the ranch where he was actually studying ebonics. But Kevin Spacey was there at that one. And did he go to the island? Did these other people who were supposedly connected to it all, did they go to the island? And I don't think that all the crimes that Epstein, was involved in Ghislaine, were connected to. I don't think they all happened on just that island. I think everybody's focused on that island, but you have to remember, he had an apartment in D.C. He had a home in New York. He had one in Boston, I think. He had the ranch in Utah or Arizona, or wherever the hell it was. There are a lot of places where he most likely committed crimes, and forced these young women into situations they shouldn't have been in. OJ was better liar than Prince Andrew. Yeah, but everybody knows. I mean, according to what a couple people I've talked to, in the UK, I mean, people. What did they have a nickname for Prince Andrew? And it's not been a tightly guarded secret about Prince Andrew and his exploits with younger women. The victims, the girl at the time, said everyone knows what was going on there. Everyone, yeah. But Prince Andrews was also connected to that guy who was he was a comedian and TV host in the UK. But he was, after he died, it came out that he had molested what, like 50 kids or more. I mean, but Prince Andrew was connected to him, and everybody knew about it. I don't like those TMZ guys. They are so fake. They dye their hair. Everybody calls him a creepy person because he has association with young girls for years. Yeah, I mean, and so it's not really a surprise, when his name popped up. That he had been going places with Jeffrey Epstein, and he was involved in all that. The Ward case study, they do a roast of Prince Andrew's interview. It's hilarious. I'll have to look for that, Cement Shoes. Dumb in a sleaze. Seville, correct. Cement Shoes. Seville, but Andrew had connections with him, and throughout his entire career. Yeah, and I mean, it wasn't even like a secret that the royal family was trying to hide. People knew about this. It was out in the open. They didn't care because these people were in such high positions, and even like the ones um, who went to Epstein's Island, and the court. I'll get to that in a second. Skip ahead of that, but they knew about it. It wasn't like they were trying to hide it or push it underneath the rug. Now, something else. So there was a court release about the documents being released, and the court said if this individual or anybody who's on the list wants to keep their name from it, they had to file with the court to tell them that they wanted to have their name withheld, and then on top of that, they had to go to court, or have their attorney go to court and explain why they needed to have their names released. One person filed to actually have their name withdrawn from the list of people who had been to Epstein's Island. And it's a female, not even a male. One person filed. And their attorney said it was because they live in a conservative nation and that their life and their family's life would be in jeopardy if their name was released. Now, if you think about the geopolitical map itself, that means that this person's most likely from like either Dubai or someplace like that, Saudi Arabia. This female is from one of these countries where it would, if their name did pop up on this list, it would put them in great harm because of the conservative nature of the country. Princess Diana hated Seville. I don't blame her. He's a creepy dude. I just can't believe how people liked him. But then again, I mean, look back at Bill Cosby. How many years did people were the rumors out there about Bill Cosby and what he was doing with women? I mean, that was going back to like the 70s. There were people that were talking about all the sleazy things that Bill Cosby. He had a a persona that was out in the public, and then he had the behind the doors, what everybody in Hollywood and everyone else knew who real Bill Cosby was. He wasn't just a friendly Dr. Huxtable on television, or the stand-up comic, or Fat Albert, doing the shows. He was that was the personal persona of him, but everybody else knew that Cosby was into some weird shit. And then it came out, and they finally released it, and all the victims started coming forward, and they're like, "Are we really surprised?" Your mom met Bill Cosby and said he was a total asshole. Yeah, I saw something this morning. Who just said that about Hillary? Well, one of the victims said that they I was reading this article about one of the victims who was forced to give massages and happy endings to people there on the island. Um, Something about Bill Clinton, that everyone knew that Bill Clinton liked them young. That was like the quote from that individual. You thought Cosby was creepy even when he was a little kid in the 80s? There's a meme of the last person to see Epstein, and it's Hillary with a sleuth hat on and fake mustache. Hillary couldn't find things if she had to, like her emails. They just don't exist anymore. Well, then why did you delete them? I like Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor always ragged on Cosby. Wasn't it in Raw with Eddie Murphy Raw where he did that bit about Bill Cosby, telling him that he was dirty and he was never going to get anywhere in comedy because of his act and the things that he said. Actually, that was like an interaction between Bill Cosby and Eddie Murphy, or a phone call or something. I can't remember what the context of it was. Yeah, we'll never have comics like the Richard Pryor and and some of the of the older ones. Comedy's moved to a different place now, and it's not even safe to be a comic anymore. Jello pudding pops. I miss those damn things. Those things were good. The pudding pops, Jello pudding pops. I thought the sandwich guy, that Jared, yeah, was creepy as fuck too. I swear I must have some kind of radar. You might, cement shoes. You very well might. Hillary's a mess. Had the nerve to criticize Murphy for swearing, and the whole time he was dosing women with quaaludes. Cement Shoes has more than one gift, but that this might be a gift that you have, where you can pick out creepy people like that. They're out there, and boy, have I met some strange people in my lifetime. Especially since I started doing this YouTube, and crime reporting. I have met some seriously creepy people. People who wanted to either collaborate with me, or talk to on the phone, or wanted to do, videos with me. Ooh, boy, I hate that freaking Jared from the first time I saw him. You know what? I've yet to meet a Jared that I like. Because speaking of another creepy ass Jared, is Kitty Q still here? Should have been an FBI agent, but too much arthritis. If you can type, you can still work for the FBI. There's a lot of people who do data entry, and work like that. I am. But yeah, Jared, he's messing with everybody. Jared Lysick, the lies that Lysick tells. He's messing with everybody from me. He tried to get me to to stop reporting on him and what his alleged, and I'm saying that with quotes to be sarcastic, crimes that he committed. Because well, he admitted to them over a dozen times over 30 years. But he's messed with Josh Cantu, his former videographer with AWP. He's messed with Doug Bishop, former diver with AWP. Is he messing with Nug? I wouldn't be surprised at all. He's gone after everyone he can, but yet he's just another Jared, on the list of scumbags. I'm sure there's some good Jareds out there. I just haven't met them yet. You should have been a defense attorney. I believe all the killers are innocent. All of them. Yeah. Then there's the adventures with perverts. my friend Mike started off as a defense attorney with what do they call it here? They're public defenders, but they actually have a name for the actual group, and it's escaping me right now. But they're public defenders who work in only in the defense of people who can't afford attorneys. And some of the people that he's met over the years, and it's been extraordinarily creepy ass individuals. But I was talking to him one time about what does it take to be a defense attorney, and he put it to me in very blank terms is that you have to go into every single case as a defense attorney without knowing guilt or innocence. Here's the evidence. How do I prove this person innocent with this pile of evidence in front of me or lack of evidence? Just because someone's allegedly committed a crime doesn't mean that they're guilty even in front of this stuff. And that's why I asked them a follow-up question. I said, well, how do you defend people who've done serious bad things? Maybe they killed someone or they've molested a child. And he said, well, first off, I don't handle capital murder cases or any murder cases at all. That's beyond my ability or my desire. When it comes to the person who may be they're charged with child molestation or something, he said they are afforded the same defense and the rights to a defense as anyone else, from the guy who got a DUI to the guy who stole something from Home Depot. All of them are presumed innocent and should be afforded the same defense. So I asked him, like, again, it's like, so have you actually worked any of those cases? And he said, yeah. But yeah, he goes, some of them, he goes, they come off as innocent as can be, and others, he goes, you just know they're guilty as hell of the crime. He goes, and morally and ethically, he goes, you have to, defend them and give everything that you have to defend them. That's sad. I would never want to be in that position where I have to have Reichart, lawyer, like Scott, Scott Reich. But I would never want to be in that position where I have to defend somebody or do I think I have the ability to defend somebody I know is done a crime like that or any, serious crime against another person? But Lemon Pie, good morning. Murdaugh's lawyers seem like they didn't really like him. No, but they like the money. My husband is really hooked on the series, Young Sheldon series. My husband was exactly like that when he was younger. Had some toys, wore bow ties, loved Radio Shack, was a super genius, high IQ geek. I've seen some of the episodes of Young Sheldon, like YouTube videos. I've never watched it on television. You'd love to defend him, Mike? See, that makes you a much better person than me in that aspect. I, I I just don't know how you can separate. Even my friend when he wasn't a public defender, how you can you legally and morally you have to give the best defense to somebody, on the charges that they have in front of them. But if you know that they're guilty of it, how do you do that? Just, I couldn't do it. But now my friend is a district court judge. So the only legal cases he takes on is like probate, wills, trusts, living wills, medical trusts, and stuff like that. Um, he does some estate, business, but that's all out of an area that will never be called in front of him as a sitting district court judge. And he just won re-election this past year, so he's another 4 years before he has to run again. Will, would you be up for doing a video with me on Shonda Vander Ark care? Sure, Gemma. It all depends on that. Our problem has always been the same thing, sweetheart. It's always been trying to, with a time difference between when you're available and when I'm available. Murdaugh will get a retrial after the clerk got caught influencing the jury. Will Murdaugh? I don't know, Francie, but if I had to put a percentage on it, I would say 90% chance that he won't. But it's a definite avenue for appeal for him, when they appeal the case, which is going to be interesting because in order for him to appeal that case, him and his attorneys have to put up what's called a sufficient bond for the actual cost of that. So if it's going to cost, let's just say hypothetically, I don't know what it's going to cost, but let's just say hypothetically it costs $300,000 to fight the appeal. He has to put up a $300,000 bond. So he would have to put in. Where's he going to get $300,000 from? You don't have that money. What money was left, or estate he had, after the liquefaction of everything that is going to happen, Buster is going to end up with almost nothing. But where is he going to come up with the money to the defense? Deep pockets from friends who believe in him. I don't know. Get someone from law firm or someplace to donate the appeal. Don't know. Case says it has to do with an autistic boy. You hope that he gets a new trial. I'll give you this much, Mike. I think it's dirty pool for what she did. Talking to the jury beforehand, telling them to disqualify anything that he says on the stand, or evidence you might hear. I mean, if what she did is, and is alleged to have done really took place, I mean, that's a misjustice right there. And it should have been more than enough grounds for, them throwing out the conviction. But then he's got the financial crimes, and that would keep him in jail anyways. Why would he have to pay for appeal? Mike, it's for the cost of the attorneys in the actual case itself. He's not paying to appeal. It's the money he has to put up for the attorneys, because he's not going to find an attorney who's going to work for free on it. But they say they can roughly figure out what the cost is going to be. Okay, if you're going to need to appeal this, it took say 1,000 man hours to do your actual trial. What was the cost of that? They add that up for attorneys per hour, one or two attorneys, whatever he might need, since there's no death penalties, and that's taken off the table. But if you put the whole thing up, okay, this entire case, it costs $300,000 for him to go through trial. He needs to put up a bond, which he would need to put up if it costs $300,000. So it'd be, I think, $100,000 in cash, and then security for 200,000. He'd have to put up now, and if he wins, I mean, he gets that cash back, and they release the hold on that piece of property, but he still would have to put up the value of it. But that's just how the system works. I'm wearing a flannel shirt just like the one that you're wearing, Will. Cool. Um, my wife bought all these for me from, of course, I'd have to take it off to see it. I can't see the tag in the back of it. The things I do. Duluth Trading Company. The things I do. Huh? They're all too big for me. Yeah, I know that. I know it looks like I'm. I mean, just lengthwise. Yeah. She mistakenly ordered the wrong ones, but I'm not going to tell her. Pendleton, Pendleton, Oregon, Pendleton whiskey. Plaid shirts on them. It's blue and white. I just bought one for my son, Gemma, that was um, blue and white, blue and white flannel. Boy hasn't worn it yet though. Duluth Trading Company. I'm wearing a blanket hoodie, just like the one your wife was wearing on the Taco Podcast. She loves that damn thing. Y'all don't know it. Yeah, I mean, this thing is like it's so soft and comfortable. She wears it everywhere around the house. She comes home from work, kicks off her shoes and goes upstairs and changes, and she puts on that hoodie. She loves it. Pendleton wool plaid shirts are awesome. You look like you aged backwards 10 years. Oh, thank you. I certainly don't feel 10 years younger. And older and older and older I get, the more this body breaks down. I've had more medical procedures and surgeries in the last 20 years than I care to even count. And I didn't take care of myself when I was younger. Like, a lot of males, you live fast and die young, leave a pretty corpse. That was at least my motto growing up. Didn't worry about it. And now as I'm older, it's like, great. Just getting out of bed in the morning sometimes is just like, really? Do I dare put my feet on the floor? When is the next Taco Podcast video? Sunday. Tomorrow. They're too expensive unless they're from a thrift store. My wife bought me 6 of these from Duluth Trading Company. You've probably seen videos of them. I've got a green and blue one, a blue and white one. I've got a black and green one. I've got this one, which has got like 3 different colors in it, 4 different colors in it. But they're comfortable. I mean, unlike a lot of flannel shirts, like the cheaper ones, that are itchy, these ones are not. Right out of the package, they're good to go. What do I think about the Gypsy Rose case? Yeah, I feel bad about her ex-boyfriend, Rykart. As soon as she got what she wanted, in case you're not familiar with Gypsy Rose, as she grew up, her mother convinced her and put her through endless amounts of medical procedures, saying that she was sick when there was absolutely nothing wrong with her. And Gypsy Rose suffers from what they call Munchausen syndrome, and she eventually convinced her boyfriend to kill her mother. And well, damn it, if I would have lived through that, I would have killed her too. Yeah, can you imagine being medically tortured for years, and convinced that there's something wrong with you and that you're close to death for years, and and stifles your entire life? And I'm sure she lays this all out in her book that's coming out, if it's not out already. And it'll be made into movies, and it's been made into a couple Lifetime movies already. But you're mentally 100%. Maybe it's the coffee. Yeah, I drink a lot of coffee, Francie. A lot. I probably drink about 16 cups a day. You're on the side of Gypsy Rose. I mean, there's never any reason, they say, for violence, but Jesus, what she lived through, and to be even somewhat sound. And she got married while she was in prison, but Gypsy Rose just got out. Apparently, she got stopped from going to see the Kansas City Chiefs football game, which is NFL, American football. But yeah, but she's going to try to put together some resemblance of a life now. You're going to go see Priscilla movie tomorrow? Well, I hope you enjoy it, Gemma. How can Gypsy Rose profit from the killing Son of Sam laws by books and movies? Well, again, like I was saying earlier, Mike, a lot of the pinning and the underfoot of a lot of the Son of Sam laws have been wiped off the books. The There is no political motivation, per se, that makes politicians want to stop people from profiting from their crimes. In today's day and age, I'm going to use this as a hypothetical situation, Mike. I'm not saying that you would actually do this or you have done this, okay? This is a hypothetical situation. Let's just say you, Mike Stevens, go out and decide to kill your neighbors next door. You have had enough of their dog shitting in your yard, them stealing your newspaper, whatever the perceived issue is between you and your neighbor, and you decide to kill them all. Wipe out the whole family of 5. Okay, so in this day and age, that's going to be on YouTube the day you did it. If they catch you that day. Or maybe you make videos about it yourself and you put them on your own YouTube channel, talking about how you're going to go kill the damn neighbors and their dog. All right. So you're already profiting from that crime. Or maybe what you do is you give the videos and the confessions and everything else to me, and you tell me all about it. And then I profit from it, and then in turn, I then give you the money, because that's what a lot of criminals have been doing. Even these young, stupid idiots in like inner cities who've been joyriding around in Hyundais, and stuff like that after they stole a car and then they crashed them. They don't post it necessarily themselves. They have a friend post it to Instagram or to YouTube, after they, of the crimes that they committed. That person's profiting. That person then gives the money to them. So this has been happening a lot. And the farther we go on, there's no political power to want to stop the the individual who may be posting it. Maybe it's not directly from the person who committed the crime. Maybe it's not from you killing the family, but you gave the videos to me, and then I profited from them, and then I hand you the money. or put it on your books, or or whatever, or give it to your family or whoever, and then they give it to you. What motivation is there to stop it? So the Son of Sam laws that are out there that are on the books, they don't have. There's no real teeth to them, I guess you could say. And the farther we go along, and again, now in Texas and in California, they've completely almost done away with anything at all. And we have the Soto, the murder of the pregnant girl, and her boyfriend in Texas. That, I mean, the murderers themselves, they could have made videos and released it, and they could profit directly from it because that happened in Texas. Stop the bus, old peeps armed with belts, do some drive-by spankings. That's what it will take to stop the gangster criminals. it, that's the world we live in. It happens today. It's on video, and someone's releasing it and profiting from it tomorrow. If I spend $100 to make a video, that's my writing, electricity, the editing programs. If I spend $100 to make a video and I put it on YouTube, and let's just say it gets 1 million views, not even me, the creator, will get 50% of the revenue that video will make. Maybe it gets 1 million views and I make $3,000 from that video. YouTube is making 60% more than I am. But that's the world we live in. You can't find a politician that wants to go after YouTube, and say, look, man, you're stealing 60% of the pie from the revenue that was generated from this. They're not going to do that. What motivation is there in it? YouTube's got all these, people lined up to fight for them. They're not fighting for me. It's a result of the parents not being able to spank their kids. I've never spanked any of mine. I mean, my son's 7, but I've never spanked my daughter. Gypsy could just gotten up out of her fake wheelchair and walked up to authorities and reported everything. She could have, you would think, right, Cart? But she knew she had the ability. From the interviews I've seen, she knew she had the abilities to walk, but she didn't know. She thought that she was deathly sick. And here every day, mom is pushing more and more pills down her, her throat, and she's going to experimental therapies. Yeah, she knew she could move and walk and stand, but how long could she have done it? She believed that she had brittle bone syndrome or something like that on top of it all, and and tomorrow she may not even be here. She constantly lived and thought that she was on the edge of death. Your mom beat the crap out of you every day. I'm sorry. Your mom beat the crap out of you every day, Mike. All with aliens is too crazy. Oh, they do, Francie. They take money from not only the revenue, ad revenue. All right, I'm paid 1/10 of a cent, 1/10 of a cent, and I'm not. This is not like just me, but a lot of YouTubers out there are paid 1/10 of a cent. It goes all the way up. Some are making as much as 5 cents per view, but I'm paid 1/10 of a cent. So put that in context. And then YouTube gets the advertiser comes to them and says, okay, I've got $5 million and I want my ad placed all over your, YouTube, but I don't want it on sensitive content. I don't want it on, LBGQ, plus content. I don't want it on this. So they automatically, with their algorithm, they say, okay, we're not going to put it near, sensitive or crime or LBGQ, content. That those your ad campaign is not going to run against this. So we're going to spread it out amongst the billions of other videos that are out there that are not with this stuff here. And so they selectively put the campaign out there. YouTube takes a cut before they even put the money out there. They're like, that's mine. YouTube, again, super chats, super thanks, channel memberships, they take a piece on each and every pocket that is out there. YouTube's not going to go broke, nor is Google. Number one and number two search engines in the world. And now that they're in the AI business, they know with what was it, Barth or Bart? No, Bart. It's Bart. Bart is their AI, and they're in a lot of aspects. Bart is more intuitive than a lot of like these chat GPTs and other programs that are out there. It Bart is more intuitive. It speaks as if it's a real person and it's learning, unlike the other ones that are gathering their information, that what they say from the internet search engines really quickly. Will, you can stop by my house. I'll give you a drive-by spanking in a coffee mug too. Thank you, Zelda. 30% of every, yep, that's true, Zelda. 30%. It's 30% for super chat, 30% for super thanks, and 29 to 31% of those who are channel members. If you're paying for a channel membership, it's 29 to 31%. It's higher if you're dependent upon the exchange rate, and that's why it's different. So why it's 29 to 31. If you're in Canada and you're paying for a channel membership for someone who's in the United States, there's the exchange rate there. So it's plus or minus 2%. So they take a chunk out of super chat. Yes, they do. Super chat, super thanks, channel membership, ad revenue. They got their hands, like I said, in every single pocket out there. Or you can, instead of pocket, you can use cookie jar. Every single cookie jar is out there. And then they control what content is on there. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I love the platform. I would be here even if I wasn't getting the 1/10 of a cent, per view. I'd still be here anyways. I mean, I wouldn't be here as much, but I'd still be here. There's no other program out there or avenue that is even remotely like YouTube. There's no challengers out there. There's different programs where you have to pay a monthly subscription to watch content. Nebula, and programs like that. Curiosity, where you have to pay a monthly subscription. But Curiosity, just filed for bankruptcy protection. Not bankruptcy, not going out of business, but bankruptcy protection, so they can restructure their debts. And they're trying their damnedest to make a go of it, to have a platform for creators to post things on. But who else is going to be out there? YouTube owns and controls and squashes anybody that's ever come up to try to challenge them. Good morning, Glow. Oh yeah, they do, Glow. Every single dollar that comes in from everything. And they decide what shows up on their algorithm, what content gets pushed, what content, gets, what they call it, shadow banned, that what content is, who's going to be successful. That's the way it works. But everyone deals with the same shit. So it's not like they're going after one person over another. Their algorithm isn't picking one winner over another. And I see a lot of people who blame, the algorithm for, lack of their success. I like to, think of the algorithm. I replace the word algorithm with audience. So I mean, I know I'm reaching millions of people every year, and I have what 414 million watch hours of my content. I just never figured out how to translate people watching my content, enjoying my content, leaving positive comments on my content, how to change them from that to becoming a subscriber. I've just never figured out that click of of it all. Yeah, but Francie, it's their sandbox. It's their sandbox, and they can decide what content is going to be here and what content isn't going to be here. And for a large majority of it, I totally agree with them, and I see it. If YouTube was mine, all right, and I invented it, and I put all the money into it and all the resources to keep the system going, if that was mine, I would want the same ability, and I think everybody else out there would too. You don't want someone who's going to burn your entire system to the ground being on your platform. And you should be able to say, look, I don't want this stuff. It may be free speech. Yeah, free speech is great in the public forum, but no one says that YouTube has to promote or have anything and everything out there. And there's a lot of hateful shit that's on YouTube. You don't have to look very hard to find it. Hell, I'm suggested every week, YouTube channels that are hateful, from one race against another, one religion against another. It's out there. One protective group against another. Well, thank you, Kitty Q. I appreciate it. Oh, of course you do, Glow. Yes. I mean, I can't prove it, but I have done. Let's just say, Glow, that I have in my 5 years on YouTube, I have done an awful lot to not play well with YouTube. And I have said things, I have done things that the YouTube moderators and system do not like. And I have been penalized for it. I know it. I can prove that I've been penalized for it. But I'm going to be me. If they don't like the system, they don't like what I'm doing, oh well. If they kick me off, they shut me down, I'll just come back underneath something else, just like every other person out there. Why do I have 5 different YouTube channels? Because they're backups in case one of these, you don't, the old adage, don't put all your eggs in one basket, is very true when it comes to YouTube. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Tomorrow afternoon, they could decide, I've done too much and I'm too much of a thorn in their ass. So they're just going to get rid of me. And just like anybody else, I mean, you're never going to see Mr. Beast or, Cutie Pie or any of these mega stars ever get to the point where YouTube will want to, get rid of them. But when you're a smaller channel, we got 10,000 more, right behind you that are waiting to take your position. I deal with highway robbery all the time, overcharging as truck drivers all the time. That sucks. I would not want to do that. What? No, Zelda. I'm not ignoring it. I can't do it from Restream. I have to do it on actual YouTube. I'm not. See, you guys are watching me on YouTube, but there are people who are watching me on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and Discord. So I'm streaming to all these platforms. You're watching. You might be on YouTube and watching this live stream, but I'm not actually on YouTube right now. I am on a completely different system. I'm on Restream, which is the name of the company. I'm on their platform, and we're streaming out to all of these different platforms. I have no control right now of anything on YouTube. I mean, I can see the comments because they're able to share and show the comments, but so I have the YouTube comments right here, and over on the other side of the screen, I've got Discord and Twitch in the comments there, which is zero, except for, well, there are 5 people who've said hello in Twitch, and that's it. Make me a mod so I can axe everyone. You're funny, Mike. But this is America, not some country that silences free speech here. It's supposed to be protected by law. It is, Francie, but this is not. Free speech is completely outside of the realm of when it comes to YouTube. This is a private company. It's not the newspaper. It's not your local town square. It may feel that way. They may even say that they are, the social gathering place for views and opinions. But it's not. They're still a private company. The First Amendment, in the free speech and everything else has no play when it comes to, a company. You can't go to Ford, Motor Company if you work there tomorrow, and on the assembly line start spewing off racial, epithets, at your fellow coworkers. You might be able to do that outside of the plant where you're going to get your ass kicked, but and you probably would at work too. But you can't just do it, even though it's free speech. Zelda, I honestly, I really am surprised that you're not a moderator already. I thought you were, but I'll check it, and if not, I'll add you after the stream. I know exactly who Zelda is. We've known each other for quite a long time. There's. I know a little bit about what you're talking about there, Zelda, about the lady who, doxing and spewing hate towards. There's a fine line there, and YouTube is, I'll admit, is they do very little to actually, in a expeditiously manner, to enforce rules and regulations against doxing and hateful content. As a YouTube creator, I can time someone out, I can ban them, I can block them. These are the only things that I can do. And even as a moderator, you can time people out, but you can't block them, or remove their content. Unless you give the moderator the next step up, which is channel controls. You give them some of those. But YouTube is a public forum, isn't it? It is a public forum, but it's not a public place. It's all about the law, Francie. Did you see the video of the thief who was caught stealing, and they dragged him by his undies, giving him the biggest wedgie in the world? Google is hilarious. No, I haven't seen that, Zelda. Yeah, it's a public place, but it's not a public forum as in newspaper, because you have to look at what the Constitution actually says for free speech. The government can't control you from having free speech. There is no censorship of the free press, but that's from the government can't do it to you. That's how the Constitution was written. So, if you have to think of where the founding fathers came from. They didn't want government to say, look, this is an expression of an idea or, a thought, and they didn't want the government to have that control over the individual. There is nowhere in there where it says a public company, like YouTube, can't restrict the content that is on their platform, as long as they're open and they use that right, their right to restrict content. If they use that appropriately across the board. So if this person starts spewing off about white power, we have to do it to this person who's spewing off about white power. And that's where YouTube got into trouble about shadow banning LGBTQ plus community and not putting ads against up the same ads that were on their content as the lady who has content talking about puppies. They're all supposed to be treated equal, but they got in trouble and they got sued and they settled out of court and they fixed that issue. But and all that content falls underneath what they call controversial content. I can't tell you how many times YouTube has shut off all ads on my content because of blood, guts, and gore. I've never shown blood on my channel. I've never talked about the blood running out of the victim's neck, after they were decapitated. I never talked about any of that shit. But that's what they use to shut down ads on my content or age restrict it, put it behind a age restriction. I got a lot of content, probably well over 200 videos that are on YouTube that have been age gated. You have to be logged in and verified that you are over the age of 18, and then you'll see a black screen, and then you have to click on it to confirm that you are over 18. But if they don't know who you are and they don't know you're not logged in, you won't be able to even see or find the content on my channel. Oh, she's getting major sued and she will lose in her lake house for sure because she did wrong, because she's jealous and wonderful YouTube creator. No, I think it's more of an oversight, Zelda, on my behalf, on that you're not a moderator. I mean, it wasn't a conscious effort to not make you a moderator. I don't know. I don't. Just one of those things where it's just like why would you not be? I got a strike a year after posting a video of a mushroom on my lawn. Right? Did it look phallic? I know somebody who got who actually he goes out and his entire channel is about what mushrooms in the wild are safe to eat and what mushrooms are not safe to eat. And he runs more of a survivalist channel, how to live off the grid in case you're stuck in this environment. And he's had videos struck because the mushrooms looked like phallic, a phallic symbol to the actual computer generating learning. Is Pam still putting out content, Zelda, on Pam's Piano on her channel? For some reason, I think it may have unsubscribed me from her channel. I don't know if you know or not, if you still follow Pam. But when it comes to YouTube restricting content, they tell you right up front, you can't do this, you can't do that, and the rules, they're all written right out there, on YouTube underneath the search and help. You can survive from a cactus. Can you? I've eaten cactus before. The blossoms, blooms. What do they call them? Yes, but big news. I've had restrictions put on my poetry uploads. It happens. Sometimes it doesn't make sense at all. But in the help, there's a whole entire help section on YouTube that tells you what you can and cannot do and what's restricted and what's not, and especially if you want to run ads on it. And the goalposts, as they say, are constantly moving. They never fixed in one place. But you got to be careful what the mushrooms look like there, Zelda. They moved to Wyoming and their home slid down the hill and they lost everything. They just got settled into their new house. Oh my gosh. I am so sorry to hear that, Zelda. Well, so the reason why I bring that up, Zelda, about Pam's piano, and that's a YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen. If you really enjoy someone playing in music from a piano, go check out Pam, Pam, Pam's piano. Okay, but I haven't seen any updates, or videos released recently. That's probably why. So and it happens. You have to check who you think that you're subscribed to and who you want to be subscribed to, because it happens. YouTube just for some reason just unsubscribes you from content. And I think that's what happened. Is like, well, I just realized, I'm like, I have not seen any new content from Pam's piano. If one of your mods would post her YouTube channel, Pam's piano. I'll see if I can do it. If no one else can, I can actually check to see if I'm still a subscriber too. I am not. See, I am not currently a subscriber. That sucks. Well, that answers my question on why I'm not seeing new content from her. Thank you, Gemma. Thank you very much. But cactus is full of protein to keep you hydrated and are healthy. Hmm. Well, in case I'm ever stuck in the desert someplace, Rykart, where there is nothing but cactus around, I will keep that in mind. Little prickly damn things. Where I live here, we don't have cactus. And we're in what they call a semi-desert or high plateau desert. All depends on who the hell you're listening to. But we don't have cactuses here, but we have a lot of sagebrush, um, and dry. She's really needs a few subs because she's been going through too much. She had to rehome her big dog, Saint Bernard. She's having serious health issues. Oh man, that sucks. Are you gonna put out a video of playing your organ anytime soon, Zelda? Zelda plays a mean organ. Well, do you have many kinds of insects where you are, Will? Oh yeah, yeah, Francie. We have everything from your basic ants and spiders and stuff like that, but we have scorpions. We have fire ants, black ants. Hate fire ants. Um, we get those flying ones, whatever the hell those ones are called. They're not like a regular little stupid house ant. They're bigger and they fly. Yeah, we've got insects here. It doesn't get that cold, even in the winter, like today. I mean, we're in January, and this is supposed to be the coldest months of the year. But love the beaver tail cactus. You peel the outer layer and fry it with onion. Tastes like green beans with a lemon tart. Mm. Sherry, good morning. Cool. Yeah, we have scorpions here. We get these little white ones. They're about that big, probably about 2 inches in length. Head to tail. There's a little guy, and then we have another one that's like a tannish, like and white and black scorpion. And those ones are, I mean, they're both deadly, but you don't find them too much in city. You find them a lot, or unless you have like a wood pile, you find them in firewood a lot. Um, they like that, for some reason. Home, but we have them. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be taking off here. I want to thank everyone again for hanging out and listening to me ramble today about nothing and everything at the same time. And don't forget, tomorrow night trivia here on the channel. That's at 4 p.m., 7, on the East Coast, Eastern time. But everyone, you stay safe out there. On the way out the door, if you'd hit the thumbs up or thumbs down, whichever, you know, I'd appreciate it. I don't think I'm going to be going out of my way to eat cactus on purpose. So I'm not even a fan of green beans, but you know, I'm sure there's people out there that like them though. But Zelda, I'll add you as a moderator and just after I finish the stream. But bye everyone, and y'all take care today and stay safe out there. Come to my house for a drive-by wedgie.